If you like stories about karate, or stories about zombies, or even stories about karate zombies, you have to read my newest book, You're Not My Sensei. I mean, just look at this art. I mean, obviously if you buy it, you won't get the one with the banner on it, but you know. There is only fear in this dojo. Remy used to get picked on in school when she was younger. That was before she started taking karate lessons. When she and her family moved to a new town, she's left with only one option for a nearby karate dojo: Solar Strike Karate. Remy goes in hopes of making new friends. What she finds is something straight out of a nightmare. She soon can't shake the feeling that everywhere she goes, she's being followed by the kids with the matching headbands. Or that she's seeing things others around her can't. Not to mention, everyone else at her new school are too scared to talk about the students and their sensei. Remy is about to find out why. So I thought it'd be fun if I just, read the first chapter for you. How about that? And then you can read the rest. Yeah? Sound good? And again, this comes out on Tuesday, December 19th, which is tomorrow, technically, from when this video goes up, but, I stared down the wide trunk of the largest walnut tree in my new front yard. Exhaling slowly like I had been taught, I drew my hands together. Once I felt centered, I pulled my right hand back in unison with my inhale. I held it there, focusing intently on not just punching the tree, but punching through it. Ha! I finally exhaled, striking my fist forward and into the tree. My hand came to an immediate stop, and the skin on my fingers felt warm. Above, the branches rattled like a symphony of snakes. As I pulled my hand away to inspect the damage, part of the bark where I had hit came with too. My fingers were visibly red, but no skin had broken like the first few times I had tried this back home. It made me smile. Remy! I heard my dad call somewhere inside the house. I brushed the loose bits of bark from my knuckles and jogged over to the wraparound porch, where a bunch of moving boxes still sat. Almost all of the boxes out here were labeled some variety of Remy bedroom, Remy clothes, and one even labeled Remy junk. I'll give you two guesses who put that on the box. I'm outside, Dad, I called back through the open window. In the crack of the window, I saw my father peek out and push up his glasses as they slid down his nose. Inside, I heard something fall, followed by the sound of something glass breaking. Oh, dang it all, Dad shouted. I smiled again. Dad was always saying goofy phrases like dang it and golly. I was trying to keep my face straight when he finally appeared through the front door. There you are, young lady, he said, annoyed, moving along the porch to stand above me. Storm's coming in. Wouldn't want these outside when it hits. He gestured to the stack of boxes beside him. I looked up at the sky that was slowly turning gray. Dad was right, but I also didn't want to have to haul each box up one at a time by myself. I was still protesting moving in the first place. Luckily, that's when I met Chuck. He had pulled his bike into our driveway next to the moving truck and flipped the kickstand. The bike was much too tall for him, and he almost fell off trying to dismount. His hand slowly rose in front of his face, which was going through a losing bout with acne. I waved back, forcing a smile. I was absolutely right with my initial judgment, looking him up and down. This was going to be a kid who would talk your ear off if you let him. Hello, he plainly said, staring up at our house. Hi, I replied, walking along the side of the house to meet him. The wind picked up for a moment, and my hair blew out from behind my ear. Annoyed, I grabbed onto it and tucked it back in place. It's a nice house, he said, cramming his hands into his front pockets. My grandma used to live in it. I'm Chuck. Is that why it's so outdated looking inside? I replied, raising an eyebrow. When his face dropped, I laughed and shot my hand out for him to shake. Just kidding. It's nice, I lied. I'm Remy. He looked at it for a moment as if he had never seen someone holding their hand out at him. It must have registered because he then quickly jumped and brought a hand out, grabbing onto mine, which I noticed was unusually wet. He nervously laughed with me, and then we both looked down at our hands, which he was still holding on to. He quickly pulled it back, and then proceeded to wipe it on his pants. Maybe he was just awkward, and hopefully those hands weren't always that clammy, or he'd lose grip on his bike handlebars. Looking over at it, in many places the paint had been scuffed as if he had already fallen many times on it. Chuck was about an inch taller than me, which was really saying something as I was always considered the shortest in my grade. I saw what you were doing with the tree. What was that? He asked. I looked back over and saw the bare spot I had made. Oh, nothing. Just a little strength training. Turning over the hand he had held onto a little too long, I showed him the reddening skin that covered the tops of my fingers. Chuck nervously laughed again. Doesn't that hurt, though? I inspected it close to my face. Not as much anymore, I replied. He nodded and then saw the boxes with my name plastered all over them. Do you need help with those? He asked. Actually, yes, could you help me bring them at least inside? I pleaded, turning on my charm. Of course, he stammered, running around to the porch steps and grabbing the box nearest. A grunt escaped from him as I watched Chuck struggle to lift the oversized box. He slowly raised it up, but when he tried to take a step, his feet got twisted up and he fell forward, landing directly on the box. Oh, come on, I whispered under my breath before calling over to him. Are you okay? I rounded the porch to find the entire box had been smashed underneath him. Several of my dresser items had scattered around the porch, but Chuck was holding on to something that caused his eyes to bulge and his words to fail him. It was the rack in which I hung my numerous karate belts from. A few had fallen off of it in the process. You're... He sputtered, not taking his eyes off my karate belt display. Huh? Chuck's eyes fell on me, and he looked pale. His face was now sweating as much as his hands. You're one of them, he said softly. You're a karate zombie. And that was the first chapter of You're Not My Sensei. I'm very proud of this book. I think others will really enjoy it. There's some fun stuff that happens with Remy and Chuck, and you'll have to check it out on Amazon. And order it on the TikTok shop, but those are only limited, and you can also find it on Amazon if you just search up Terror Valley or my name, Squall Charlson. I mean, look how cool it looks on ebook. Come on, you gotta get it.